What up, YouTube? It's my third time making this video. I wasn't happy with the second one, and the first one actually David Fishbra, whose game I'm analyzing, came online and started chatting, and we started going over different variations. Then my internet cut out, so I got a little distracted, and I wasn't happy with the video quality, so I'm going to redo it. I got some spectator. I don't know who this guy. Oh, he just left. Um, he's probably like, why? He was in the middle of something. Why did he just stop? Can't see the video. It's not like I'm streaming. He was just checking out the game. So yeah, this is David's game in a tournament at the Marshall Chess Club. I believe it was a 30-minute game, 25 with 5-second delay, to be more specific. And he played kind of my old nemesis from northern New Jersey, Mauricio Cameo. He's actually somewhat of an inspiration because he made Master, USCF Master, in his 40s. As far as I know, he's like at least a few years older than me, and I'm 38, and he made Master pretty recently. So, yeah, he plays a lot of rapid games, and he's very inconsistent. Sometimes he'll beat like 2300s, and sometimes he'll lose to like 1700s. So I don't know what his rating is now, but it kind of tends to fluctuate between 2000 and 2100 because he didn't get the 2200 floor. Anyway, let's just look at the game. B4, C5. But the moral is that don't think just because you weren't a little prodigy as a kid that you can't still achieve at least master level in adulthood. C3, good old C3. D6, I must have made this arrow before. Yeah, D6 is not super aggressive. And generally, if black doesn't play D5 or knight F6, the two main lines, you wouldn't get a D4 right away. I mean, that's the whole idea of C3. David played knight F3, but this is a little less flexible, as we'll see. So after knight F6, if you want to defend this pawn, you don't have to defend it right away because this check will win the knight if he takes it right now, or on his move rather. But it's just a little awkward. If the knight were back at home and you had D4 in and he played knight F6, you could defend with bishop D3 or even pawn to F3. But here it's a little trickier, and you might end up having to play D3 to defend the pawn. But David plays knight A3. This position has been reached a bunch of times. H3, bishop B2, even bishop D3. That's the Kopek system. It's like a C3 hybrid, weird version of C3. It's got a lot of play, as you can see. Over 1,000 games in master play. But to me, it's not really my style. It's kind of like a slow maneuvering game, and really it's doesn't offer White a huge advantage. It's just the best player will win, which is great if you want to get out of theory early. But anyway, it even got out of theory even earlier with knight A3. And after bishop G4, amazingly, only 4 moves in a Sicilian were already reached a position where no games have ever been played, at least none in the Lichess database. So here David kicked the bishop. I was looking at some lines with queen b3, but David was saying he doesn't like to get these doubled pawns here, and I can't blame him. And the engine likes queen b3, but the longer you let it run, the less it likes it. You know, for instance, I think even after just one more move, if you play this out, all of a sudden, yeah, it says it's equal. And yeah, these positions are not to everybody's taste. And it's kind of unclear what the queen is really doing here. Yeah, black can just defend this pawn. Bishop c4 will lead to e6. You do have to open g file, but anyway, David just kicked the bishop, and then he threw in his check. Engine just saying play d3 now, and it's saying white has some edge, although I'm not really seeing it. But okay, David did this check. Black blocked g4 here, and here g5 is interesting. You're kind of tempting black into taking this pawn, after which the knight is actually trapped here. So David, he came in the first time I was trying to make this video, and I was saying g5 is kind of a computer move. I don't really think it's that much of a computer move. I mean, it doesn't take a computer to see that this knight is pretty short on squares. Oops. Now, black doesn't have to take this pawn, black can go here, or even go back. Um, or you throw in h6, and then if it takes, oh, he has this square for the knight in a very good position according to the engine, because yeah, white's pawns are kind of all over the place, and his knight, yeah, this white's position's kind of switch choosy. So yeah, and then say the bishop goes back, I assume the knight will go to h5, and yeah, knights on the rim are dim generally, but this knight does control squares, and it can't be kicked. Uh, it's not quite on an outpost, because generally a knight on an outpost would be protected by a pawn, but it's kind of, nah, there should be a word for a piece that's on a square that can never be kicked by a pawn. There probably is. I guess it could be said to be an outpost of sorts. So g5 would have been the best move. David played e5, which, yeah, he's striking out in the center, trying to open the game. But remember, his king is in the center, and yeah, he's just not that well developed. The engine really doesn't like this. I'll show you the engine line. Um, Cameo in the game just moved his knight, but the engine recommends a6, and kind of similarly, if bishop takes the knight, can come back and take, hitting this pawn. If the pawn comes forward, um, doesn't even recommend to take. It says bishop d3, which makes a lot of sense. And the king is stuck in the middle. This bishop is really bad. Another reason why you want to play d4 right away if you can. This knight is kind of awkward. It has no squares to go to. Oh yeah, and taking is not possible due to mate next move, or in two more moves after blocks and blocks. So yeah, this would be a dominating position for black. So let's go back to e5. So yeah, that's what black should have done. Yeah, and here I don't think I went over. What if the bishop just moves? Oh, well then the problem is if the bishop moves, then white's just losing a pawn. This pawn's well defended. Black's pretty well developed. This knight is awkward, and castling kingside could be risky for white. Castling queenside could also be slightly risky for white, since black's already getting his pawns going over there. So, but fortunately for David, he didn't have to deal with any of that, because black played knight d5, and yeah, here just e takes d is not that dangerous for white anymore. I guess black could still. Oh no, yeah, there's no ideas with this because the bishop is here. And after a6, you could just preserve the bishop with a tempo on the knight. And knight could come back hitting you. I guess go back to e2. And insane queen e2, but I don't see why I gave up the bishop pair so easily. I guess 8 after e6, he's going to win back this pawn. Yeah, again, white's development's a little awkward. Yeah, I mean, I like this knight e3 move under certain circumstances, but usually against queen d5 lines, where you're going to come here with the knight and threaten the fork here. So let's go back. So David came forward with e6. I like this in certain lines, especially if the bishop's traded for this knight over here and you have an unopposed bishop. Yeah, opening this diagonal on the king. I mean, the knight does come in handy with moves like this. But yeah, I'll show you a crazy computer line here. The engine just says this pawn is not important. It says by ace, yeah, Cameo played knight c7, but after a6, just letting white take, say the knight drops back. I mean, excuse me, the bishop drops back. Knight 7, yeah, knight 7 b6. Takes, and yeah, black has his rooks on the open file. Black is better developed. It's an odd position, but yeah. It's just kind of a cool computer line. I don't think most people would play that way. Camille plays much more natural. Attacking the bishop, defending his pawn. Yeah, and here, queen f3, I don't totally understand. Because you're not threatening mate. And yeah, so the crazy line here is h6 was played, but black is just winning piece after it takes. Yeah, why did... Oh yeah, yeah, he didn't want to take because he didn't want to give over control of this square. That's why he didn't take. But if he takes, he can actually allow this. Queen b6 defends the knight. So takes. All of a sudden, wait a minute. Oh, whoops, not that. Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's why this line is so tricky. Maybe he even calculated all this. I mean, this was only a game 30. But after takes, you can't take back right away. Come here, hit the queen. Um, Queen d5. This is the most aggressive. Let's say here though. Knight d7. Oh, king d7. Oh, right. King d7. Attacking this knight. You're not attacking this knight anymore because the queen defends now. But here, queen c6 attacks the rook. This is just a crazy line, so you're actually now winning your piece back for actually until now. Rook f1, now a6. Yep. So it's understandable why in a rapid game that black is not going to see all this. But it's also should be heartening to know that black is like a 2,000 plus player who's been over 2,200, and yeah, he's just playing it safe. So if you really get good at your calculation, yeah, you can really get the jump on these guys. So again, that crazy line started with knight takes, and knight takes allowing this. Um, Queen c8, and it ended up playing king d7, attacking this knight, and at the end of the day, finally after like 6 moves, a6 traps the white knight. But anyway, instead h6 is very natural. David does this cute move, hitting the bishop, which would be leading to mate. Actually, it would be mate. Bishop takes bishop would be mate if pawn takes knight, and if bishop takes bishop, then queen f7 would be mate. So I like this move a lot. Black plays the only defensive move. Knight e5, bishop trade, and yeah, now actually he can take because the mate is going. And actually, king's kind of cozy here with all these pawns and pieces protecting him, and the knight is hit. So, oh, yeah, this, but then takes back, and crazy position, and then just white's a little better. But the king ran, so yeah, David's doing quite well here. If only this knight wasn't here, he could throw this fork in. So, what does he do here? He takes this pawn. Yeah, this is good. King is awkward. The knight is hit, but um, there are complications. Let's see. Oh, yeah, David David was a piece up because he took this. So this knight's hit, but he's also piece up right now. Um, yeah, my first instinct, I'm kind of a coward when I'm winning. I'd be really tempted to just take. Engine recommends to retreat the queen. I wonder how taking is. Well, taking gives up everything. I guess because the king is, oops, the king is nice and cozy here. And let's see, the pawns are actually equal. Okay, these pawns are a little awkward. So, uh, White's only thing is the initiative, so trading queens would be terrible. And yeah, queen e4 is recommended. David threw this check in, king d8, and then he retreated his queen, so good for him, not trading. Yeah, now d4. Tricky's really, or to, d4 is really tricky to time if you don't do it right away. So, yeah, it's tricky. I mean, White has a nice initiative, but it's unclear where he'd put his king. Probably king. I wonder how it rates castling kingside. Oh, right, dirt. Okay, very badly. So, yeah, how does White get his pieces onto good squares? Bishop c2 is recommended, but I'm not really sure what the idea is. I guess just to overprotect uh, squares that could be vulnerable. But if you're putting your bishop here, what are you doing with your knight? And also, what are you doing with your bishop? What about d3 instead of d4? Knight f6? Yeah. Oh, knight f6. Your other f6. So they would say you get the joke. It's like your other left hands. That's not f6. It was funny. It had to be there. Yeah, knight f6. And here, I assume also knight f6. Yeah, this is a very tricky position. And yeah, this is why I want to go in a cave and study chess. Not openings, not well, definitely tactics, but yeah, middle games are like the essence of chess. Like Carlsen would win this with both sides against even an average GM. And yeah, it's just tricky maneuvering. You have to be creative. So anyway, David pushed forward with d4, cd, cd. But yeah, this is why d4 was bad, because you can't just play cd. You could do the old knight d5 and then recapture. Here, it's kind of a c3 Sicilian tact, not tactic, tact. What about this? Oh, well, that blocks the queen attacking here, so now you can duck this away. B takes. I guess you want to put the rook here. And now you have more options. Bishop can come here, bishop can come here. Okay. But, yeah, sadly, um, David lost a piece. Very sad. Blocks. The pawn is taken. And you can't take back this piece because of this pin. David castles. And it's just would allow another pawn to drop. But first, black develops. David tries to trade rooks. I guess this makes sense. The king is still a little vulnerable here, but you are a piece down. And another pawn is taken. Actually, this would have been a cute move. And if you don't take the queen, well, what are you going to do? This is hit. The queen's in an active location. This is hit. Um, yeah, and rook takes his coming next move anyway, so that would have been cute. But rook takes h3 is also good. And now, surprisingly, the rook retreating loses a lot of the advantage, because if white has time, he will take this knight. And also the rook retreating here after f3, good move. This pawn is going to be vulnerable, hitting the rook with more time. And yeah, black's piece up, but yeah, I got to give David credit from a 6.5 position. Well, you'll see what happens in the game. Um, yeah, he moves his king kind of to safety, kind of. I mean, the queen is eyeing this square too. Um, yeah, black's best is retreat the knight, I guess, with the idea to rotate back one of them here. And If takes, back to h8. Maybe knight here could be a threat. Anyway, but after king e8, amazingly, the game is equal again. So if you're ever idolizing like expert players, even master players, I mean, this just goes to show black went from +6 to 0, according to a computer. I mean, in a real game, I would still feel like black had an advantage because he has the extra piece. But yeah, it went from -6, I mean +6 for him to 0 in 2 moves. Here David takes the knight. Uh, Taking here first would have been even better. Hitting the rook and threatening take your next move. Just show you the computer line real quick. Remember, we still have 2 threats. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Engines are amazing. They just never do what you expect them to do. There's always like a cute little in-between move. And yeah, it's in this insane position. Engine says zeros. Okay, but David took the piece, so now he's getting his piece back very natural. I'm not commenting too much on these moves because they're all pretty natural. Yeah, king f3, defending the pawn. And this is anybody's game, especially in a rapid game. I don't know how much time the 2 players had left. I imagine Mauricio's like a really fast player, so I imagine David had a lot less time than him. But he's also, because he plays so fast, he's also prone to make mistakes. Okay, we got 2 connected passed pawns. It's nothing to scoff at. I mean, Endon says zeros, black has an extra pawn, but the king is on the same side as the pawns, blocking the pawns. I mean, I feel like I'd rather be white here. Yeah, this is very tempting to take the pawn, but we really want to keep these connectees. What does the engine recommend? Here, eh? That makes sense. I wonder what if we start running. Oops, stop that. Start running right away. Yeah, this is also good. A little nervous having my king on the back rank cut off by a rook. Stop it! Stop! Ah! Yeah. Stop. Just, I hate arrows. So, what was I talking about? Takes here. No. And then here. Yeah, it makes sense. Just kind of dominating the rook. I mean, you're not really dominating the rook, but. Huh, really doesn't like that after here. It likes just stay here. Yeah. I mean, if you can stay out of checks, that's always a good thing. Ooh, but what about push and then this check? How do we deal with that? Oh, duh, we got a fork of our own. See, this is maybe the engine says this, the engine says that, but as a human, you always have to think about, okay, there's this relationship between these 2 guys, so you have to think whether it's safe tactically in the short term because of this check. You have to think about this stuff because right now this is safe because you have, if pawn push, take this and then you're winning a rook of your own. But always be aware in a real game of these relationships. Bang, this pawn push, etc. Because things change, especially if you're playing fast. It's very easy to see something one move and then totally forget about it. Be like, oh, I am safe. But after this, as soon as either the rook or the king's moves, all of a sudden you're not safe anymore. Anyway, I digress. So, yeah, so David took this to win it back. But now, why is this so good for black? Let's look at this line. Rook a8, are you insane? No, of course I'm not doing it. I'm going to take the bishop. What? This is forced mate. Wow, wow. Here's the best move. This is insane. So cool. In-game tactics. Oh yeah, you're just threatening mate next move. Oh, that's sick. That is some sick shit. So this is really hard to see. I wonder if a GM would even see this in a game 30. I could see Lenderman doing this to someone. It seems like Lenderman's. I've seen Lenderman in game 30s at the Marshall where it looks like an even position, and all of a sudden he's checkmating someone. So let's look at that by ourselves without the computer, or without moving the pieces rather. Knight takes, bishop takes, rook here, king h5, double exclamation. Rook takes bishop, g5. Wait a minute, is that right? No, I missed something. What is it again? Ah, check first. And then if up, yeah. So this is the game. And here, here, best move. And if he doesn't do that, then yeah, this is going to be mate. So that's pretty sick to be able to seal that. After here, bishop takes, rook here, check. Now what about if the king goes to e1? Let's just look at that in the interest of time, and then you can go back in the video and look at it in your head. So why is this still +6? Because the pawn is coming home, right? So I guess the thing is the king is coming. These pawns are way off in the distance, whereas this guy is all up in your grill. Say if the pawn keeps coming, I assume here, yeah, and these threats are too much. Then if something like this, oh, you can even just take, right? I know how to do this. Cool, well, yeah, this is why you should study endgames. It's no joke. The little tactic is a lot deeper than just winning your piece back. I mean, on the surface this makes sense. You got two connectors, but tricks are always should always be respected. But even this is good for black, as one connected pawn and a vulnerable king is serious. F3, but instead of king F3, you gotta push that. Oops, push that sucker. Yeah, it's crazy. Remember playing black as a player over 2,000, and so many moves. Granted, this is a rapid game, but so many moves are inaccurate. But now it's equal. Yeah, David really shouldn't allow rook here winning the pawn. Here. If here, I think we can just win, actually. Yeah, we're just winning now. And if g2, e7. Oh yeah, I looked at this. And this is a draw with perfect play. Yeah, tricky, but it's equal. But instead, David drops the pawn. Really sad. And but still, isn't this I think David was saying this is a Philidor position. But this is the end of his notation. But yet this still should be a Philidor position. d7, I think. Oh, this is black to move. Yeah, we bring the rook. h5. We bring it on the short, long side, don't we? Yeah. There, no. I would say we keep it on the second rank. Even this is tricky. I think you don't want to bring it to the back rank. But yeah, black is not able to make progress here. Well, we can just check it back. Can we do this? We probably can't even do that. Oh yeah, and here if it takes, then no. Anyway, this is something you got to study on your own. I'm not going to get too deep into this, but this was a pretty fascinating game. Weird opening. We got a unique position on move 4, and a lot of tactics. Yeah, I mean, David dropped a piece, which was really sad, but to come back and almost get a draw, actually get a better position, and then mess up again, get a losing position, and then reach a draw in endgame. Yeah, but game 30 is really tricky. It's like, I feel like game 30 is kind of more like Blitz than it is like a slow classical game. It's like half and half. Anyway, this was a really long video, and I think it's after 6 in the morning now. Let's see, 5:36. Just been driving all night like usual. Just drove back. Nice, nice Filipino guy and his wife came back from the airport. They gave me $10 tip. That was nice. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video and have a great day or evening. Good time of day to you. Goodbye.